For the common hiker, the house might be hard to spot. Engulfed by nature, it lays dormant as if it is waiting for its family to return. Once a home that held laughter, smiles, and warmth has now grown cold, but not completely deteriorated and forgotten. The inside lacks the care that once was, but flickering candles can sometimes be seen through the window, and inside there is a place for the younglings. A single herd is destroyed by the wind outside, screamed in distress, "Mother." Well, welcome to today's episode of Surviving the Fog. If you haven't figured it out by now, we are looking at the Red Forest of Mother's Dwelling. And before we get into this, I just want to let you guys know that we do stream throughout the week at twitch.tv/Parklis. So come on by, hang out, ask any questions you may have about Dead by Daylight or life in general. And, you know, I am more than welcome and happy to answer anything you may have. Now, for those who don't know what totem spawn videos are or why we're doing this, or you just happen to come across this video and want to know more, well, in Dead by Daylight, every time a match starts, there is a large pool of totems that can be possibly chosen per map. At the start of the game will determine 5 of these totems and randomly place them throughout the map. You won't know which totems are spawned in until you go through and figure it out. What we aim to do here is help you figure out exactly where those totems can possibly spawn. So the next time you're looking around to break the 5 totems, you're not just looking around randomly. You're going to have specific targets and places to go to and be better informed, and also just be a better all-around player. So what we are going to do to make things a little easier to understand and figure out, we're going to split this video up into 3 different sections. There's going to be your nature tiles, there's going to be your jungle gym tiles, and there's also going to be your main building tiles. Now, we've put in some timestamps here to help you jump around the video to figure out exactly which totems you're looking for specifically, so hopefully that'll help you out. Now, without further ado, let's look into the Red Forest, Mother's Dwelling. Now, the first tile we're going to look at in the nature section is going to be the 3 rock tree tile. This is most noted by the 3 large stacks of rocks toward the center of the tile with a bunch of trees sticking out of it, and you can see some ferns and bushes and stuff. Now, this can have a hook, a gen, sometimes a pallet, but the totem is going to be toward the back side of the tile. It's going to be up against the rock with a lot of trees, 2 trees specifically, and a bunch of ferns tucked away in the little corner there. The next one we're going to look at is a very well-known tile. This is going to be the tree hill. So this is not your normal hill that you'll see on other maps, but this is a very specific hill that they've started to use in other maps as well. But this is kind of a jagged hill. It has a large tree and some smaller trees up top. This totem is going to be up the hill instead of on the bottom of the hill as the other tiles have seen. It's going to be up toward the middle, right at the base of the taller rock. The next one we're going to look at is the more common hill. This is also going to be a nature hill. This hill you've seen on plenty of other maps, from Coldwind to Macmillan and so on and so forth. But this is also going to spawn a totem just like many of the other maps, and this one is going to be on the more common spawn location. It's going to be slightly up the ramp at the halfway point on the right side of the hill, tucked in between a big stack of rocks. Pretty hard to miss. Moving away from our elevated surfaces, we are going into the next nature tile, and this one is the log loop. So this one is most noticeable by the large stacks of cut wood in many different piles and formations. There's usually going to be a pallet in this loop. Sometimes there's a generator, sometimes you'll find a hook, just like many of the other tiles. This totem is pretty easy to spot if it's actually in this tile. So you're going to notice the very large single wall section of the cut logs, and it's going to be towards that inside portion of the tile. Now, the next tile we're going to look at is going to be a log tree tile. So it's most noted by the 2 fallen logs with a couple of trees throughout and a bunch of bushes. This totem is going to spawn on the interior of the tile. You're going to see 2 large trees flanking a set of bushes. Now, inside the middle of those bushes, again facing the inside of the tile, you're going to find nestled in there, that's going to be your totem. So just take a look. Now, this tile is usually pretty interesting. I've usually noticed this tile around the shack, but it can spawn in other places. Also, this tile can spawn a couple of them at a time, but I've never seen 2 totems in the same multiple tiles of this version. So this totem is the fallen tree tile. You'll notice it because it has the fallen logs, much like before, but instead of a lot of trees and bushes, there's been some deforestation going on, and a lot of the trees in this area have been cut down. There's going to be a single lone tree in the back of the tile, and there's going to be a couple little tucked away corners next to the fallen logs and the stumps where they come together. This totem is going to be where the 3 stumps are tucked around the fallen log, and just look behind the stumps and you should find your totem. Continuing through the red forest around the mother's dwelling, we're going to find probably the most unique tile on the map, if not almost any map. This is going to be your rock formation. There's many different names for this tile, but it's very, very distinguishable as it has a lot of very interesting rocks covered by roots in very peculiar directions. The totem here is going to be toward the middle of the tile up against one specific rock. Each of these rocks are extremely plain, except for one rock has a little cutout section that has a shrine, and that totem is going to be up against that one particular rock. Pretty hard to miss. Well, as with almost every map that has trees in it, there's going to be a tile that has nothing but trees. And here we come to this one. This is going to be the tree tile in the nature section. This totem is incredibly easy to spot. There's going to be 2 large trees in the center of the tile with a bush sticking out of it. And those 2 trees are going to split on one side, where the bush and the trees kind of meet is going to be your totem. It's kind of out there in the open. Depending on which way the tile is oriented, it might be a little difficult to spot, I guess, but it's really not covered up. So if you see a bunch of trees, head towards the center. Finishing off, the nature tiles are going to be a set of tree rock tiles. These are noted by a large collection of trees with a handful of rocks mixed in between. This one is, there's not really too many specifics about this tile other than it usually has 3 or 4 rocks kind of scattered out in a trapezoid type deal. This totem is going to be similar to many of the other totems that are up against trees. Is if you find the 2 larger trees that are connected to each other and kind of V off, you're going to find the totem at the base of those trees. This one's no different. All right, this next tree rock tile is very interesting as it doesn't follow the normal guidelines of tree totem spawns. So this tile is most notable by a big stack of rocks flanked by 2 large trees. It's going to have bushes in a corner. It's also going to have a couple tree stumps throughout the area. Now, the reason I say it doesn't follow the norm of most of the tree tiles that you'll see in other maps is this totem actually spawns not only up against a single tree, but it's not the center tree and it's not the largest tree. It's actually one of the skinnier trees towards the outside of the tile. So this one might be a little harder to find even though the totem's kind of in the open. As we finish off the nature section with this rock tree tile, this one is very much similar to a lot of the ones that you'll see normally throughout many different other maps. It has a large collection of foliage, large trees, a handful of rocks, and there's going to be the most notable section of this tile is going to be the large rock in the center that's actually stacked. That large rock is flanked by 2 pretty decently sized trees. It's a wide rock, and there's going to be a bush, and this totem is going to be nestled in between all of that on the inside curvature of that collection. So take a look for it. Shouldn't be hard to spot. So as we move into the jungle gym section, we're going to start with the 4 lanes, and there's interesting thing about this map is there's actually quite a large selection of 4-lane jungle gyms that they introduced with the Mother's Dwelling and Red Forest in general map realm. So this is your standard 4-lane. It's got your 4 walls. It's got 3 interior channels, 1 long wall that has a window opposite of it, usually on the inside or the outside. There's going to be a wall with a pallet that also has an opening towards the interior. There's going to be a locker where this totem is actually going to be next to. Now, as we move through the jungle gyms, the reason I say large collection of 4 lanes is this one's technically considered a 4-lane jungle gym. This is an open 4-lane jungle gym. The reason I call it open is because the interior walls have kind of been torn down and replaced with a different asset. In this case, it's going to be a stack of logs on each side. You have your long wall, you have your pallet. A lot of times there's going to be a generator in here, but there's also going to be a totem. Now this one is going to be on the side with the window, that long wall with the window tucked in the corner. It's always going to be in this same place. So look, it's going to be to the left of the window. Can't miss it. Now for something to be open, it also has to be closed. And that is the case with this next tile we're looking at. This one is the 4-lane closed tile. So this is, again, a 4-lane. Technically speaking, it's very different than a lot of the other tiles, especially jungle gyms in general. So it has a more intricate interior section. You have your standard long wall on one side, you have your pallet on the other side, and you have 2 main channels. However, this one is different as it has that U section that kind of bisects the interior of 2 of the channels. Now on the pallet side is not going to be your totem, but on the window side, much like the open 4-lane, that's where your totem's going to be. Well, if you're here and clicked on the clickbait of the title, it is not clickbait. This is the tile you are here to see. This is going to be the 4-lane locker tile. So this tile is very, very distinguishable. It came out with the Red Forest maps. This has 8 total lockers. A lot of them are in a very interesting position on one of the lanes. There's going to be a window in the middle section. Now, this tile can spawn multiple times per trial, and I have seen it. Every time this tile has spawned, it will have a totem. So if you see these lockers, look for the tile, and you should find your totem tucked away in there. As we move into the more standard jungle gyms, what is better than the standard jungle gym? That's right, this is the jungle gym tile. Very obvious tile that you've seen on almost every other map. You have a pallet on one corner, kitty corner from that is going to be a window. A lot of times there's going to be a generator in here. There's going to be lockers usually on the back side of the tile. Very, very well-known tile. And just like many of the other maps, this totem is going to spawn in the exact same place as it does on a lot of other maps. Up on the pallet side wall toward the interior of the tile, you're going to find your totem tucked next to a barrel. Moving through the collection of jungle gyms that are on this map, we come to the long wall jungle gym. This is named aptly for its long wall. On one side of the jungle gym that is solid and connected, and it has a window where kitty corner from that, meaning other side diagonal, is going to be your pallet. Sometimes you'll have a generator in here, and this tile is on many other maps as well. As most jungle gyms are reused, they're just retextured to fit the realm. So in the long wall, again, the totem is going to be in the same place as many of the other ones, tucked up next to that fire barrel, right next to the pallet. I'm pretty sure you're starting to sense a theme here. We come to the next well-known tile. This is the long wall, short wall jungle gym. It is most noticeable by a pallet that is flanked by 2 sets of walls. One of them is longer than the other, hence the long wall and the short wall. Where those walls are flanked, there is a interior section that jets out on each side to bring you toward the center of the tile. Also, on many of the other maps, this totem is no different, as it spawns in the center of the tile in what's called the C section, tucked away in that little corner. So peek on in there if you happen to be running through. Rounding off the jungle gym tile section of the video is going to be none other than the infamous L wall T wall. This tile is most noted by the two walls that are parallel to each other. One of them has a exact T perpendicular to form the shape of a T. The other one is a 90-degree angle to form the shape of an L. This has two windows, one on each wall, that are kitty corner from each other, and the totem is going to be on the interior of that tile on the L wall section, where two other pieces of wood jet out and flank this totem. Pretty easy to spot if it's lit. As we move into the main building section, what map would be complete without a killer shack? This one is no different, and it has its own flair as far as the realm goes, but the killer shack is very noticeable and everybody should know it. If you don't, it's a large square building in one of the corners of the map. It has a window on one wall. It has two doors, one of which has a pallet. It sometimes has the killer's basement. It'll have two lockers. Sometimes it'll have a chest, and next to that pallet and one of the doors tucked away next to the box, just like on many of the other maps, that's going to be your totem. The next tile we come to is going to be the first actual main building tile that is unique to this map. This is going to be the Smokehouse. Very distinguishable tile. It is a two-story wooden structure where on the first floor on the outside you're going to have some piles of logs and other types of wood. You're going to have a window and two door openings, as well as two lockers and a large smoke fire in the downstairs, with a ramp going upstairs that has an open wall drop off, a window jump through, and your totem. It's going to be right there in the corner between the open wall and the window. Well, you've done it. You have made it this far. You have come to the very end of this totem spawn video here on Red Forest Mother's Dwelling. For those of you who made it this far, I just want to thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and enjoyed the information that we gave you. And tell your friends. You guys know how YouTube works. Go ahead and like if you liked. If you want to see more, make sure you sub. And leave some comments down below if you think I missed anything, what you want to see next. Or just say, hey, I try to respond to all of the comments. Now, this building is the Mother's Dwelling cottage itself. It's a very unique building. It has a large lower floor that has two windows and three entrances. Sometimes it's going to have the killer basement. It's also going to have at least three lockers. It's going to have a main table in the center area. It's going to have stairs that go up to the second floor that has a balcony on the outside as well as the loft on the inside. The balcony goes mostly all the way around, that has a broken wall that you can jump through, as well as another connector to the opposite side. The interior is going to have a couple lockers as well as a window that goes outside that leads to another patio balcony area that has a generator, and in that connector between the patio with the main building generator is going to be your totem tucked away in a corner. So thank you everybody for watching. We love you guys very much, and remember, stay safe out there.